What up, YouTube? It's your boy Open Mind. Wanted to drop some truth bombs on the child support law, because there's a narrative being framed out here that, like any other narrative, if you subscribe to these people's platforms, they need to say things to ignite your emotions so that you can donate to them. So if you say some things that touches the hearts and resonates with people, they'll hit the super chat button and be like, yeah, I feel that, man. You telling the truth. Or woman, right? Or woman. I feel you, girl. You speaking to my soul. You know, it's the same blueprint as the Pentecostal and the Baptist church, where you get everybody excited about some things that they've already pre-described to before they walked in the door. So they need the validation from you to make them feel that they right about whatever the fuck they feeling. And most charismatic and manipulative people understand that psychological mindset that people have. We call them sheep, but I don't like to call people sheep. You know what I'm saying? There was a time where even I was naive to some things, and I fell for the okie doke until I became more understanding of what's going on. So I stopped falling for the okie dokes and stopped letting people lead me into Jim Jones Kool-Aid islands. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of these platforms are just little Jim Joneses speaking to your emotion, the shit that you've already been feeling anyway. And somebody like a Jim Jones figure, a cult-like figure, will speak to your emotions to identify with you so that you can feel like they're the truth teller, when really they just validating some shit that you feel that you yourself have not actually vetted. Because a lot of us need to vet the shit that we think about. The things we believe, we need to vet. Where you talk about vetting people, you need to vet yourself. Vet you. Do some individual vetting, where the shit that you say out your mouth and the concepts and perceptions that you have, are they true? Because some of us are just willfully ignorant. Like, we'll listen to somebody we trust with information, and we'll take that information as law, as that's the truth. That's what it really is, because I was already feeling it, and I hear you saying it, so it must be true. It's like, nah, it's just a cult of personality. You know, so the reason I started all off with all that disclaimer is because I'm actually going to put the article in the description box, and I really hope y'all read it. I hope y'all take the time to read, because a lot of people just don't read, and this is why so many people are led astray, and so many people are naive and are being called sheep, because you don't read, you don't research, you don't check for yourself. You just take people's word who you like. I like this guy or this girl. I just like their personality, or I like their flavor. So anything they say, I'm going to take it because I like them, which is immature on your part. It's not immature on their part. It's immature of you to let the fact that you like somebody determine if you're going to listen to some truth. And then the people you say you like, you don't even know. You never met these people. You're subscribed to their platform. You've never met them in person. You don't know these people to say you like them or dislike them. You don't know them. Something about them tickles your fancy, so you believe everything they say, and you take and you defend the bullshit that they say and do because you just tickled by their fancy. Fine. But I'm not speaking on some shit without documented proof of what the fuck I'm about to say. Because I'm not trying to argue. I'm just trying to be one of the people amongst the people who are giving y'all the real truth after you get through listening to the bullshit. So as you sift through all of the bullshit platforms that you subscribe to, and you listen in and ingest their bullshit, there are those of us out here who observe that and be like, okay, well, there's got to be some truth somewhere. There's got to be access to the truth somewhere so that people can go reference the truth versus the bullshit that they're listening to. They can compare and contrast and decide for themselves what's true and what's bullshit. Because instead of arguing who's right and who's wrong, there are those of us who will just put out the little subtle videos or the subtle posts with the truth in it, the facts in it. Maybe it doesn't get a lot of likes and shares, but it's there. And it's there for you to access in the event that you find yourself confused and wondering who's telling the truth and who bullshitting and who wasting your time, right? So now, the child support system as a whole. I hear the charismatic black people in the community saying that the child support system was designed specifically to destroy the black family. Yes, the child support system was, that's what they say. That's what they're saying. I'm here to say, no, that's not what the child support system was designed to do, to target and destroy the black family. That's not what it was designed to do. First of all, the child support system came into effect in 1975 under President Gerald Ford, who stepped in for Richard Nixon when Richard Nixon resigned. There was 2 years left in that regime, and President Gerald Ford allowed the child support law to come into effect before he left office, because he was the vice president to Nixon. Nixon had to resign from Watergate, so Gerald Ford stepped in his place to finish out the remainder of that Nixon-Ford organization, or Nixon-Ford administration. Now, there's also some more backstory to that. It was advocated by some white women. A bunch of white women groups got together. Not one white woman. I'm sure, I forget her name right now, but you'll find her name in the article. She would try to champion the fact that she's the champion of child support, but it was really a group of white women. Now, before 1975, men were able to get a woman pregnant, white women, mostly white women, because back in the 70s, the law was controlled by white folks, right? It was the white woman versus the white man. The women's movement, that was white women getting sick of white men subjugating them and controlling them and all of that shit that came with the male chauvinistic approach to law before the 70s. Women couldn't even vote. Women couldn't do nothing. Black people got the right to vote before women got the right to vote. White women. So, not that I'm standing up for white women, just speaking the facts on child support. Child support system law was not designed to destroy the black family, nor was welfare. Welfare was not designed to destroy the black family or the nuclear family. Before child support came into effect, the nuclear family was already destroyed. Men were out here giving women babies and stepping out on the baby. White men were impregnating white women and not taking care of their kids. And because women at the time could not work like they wanted to because they were beholden to their husbands, a woman who had a child had to figure out a way to survive, where a man did not have to take responsibility for the kids he done put out. He had 5 women pregnant. These white men was out here fucking, raw dogging, fucking women before 1975, leaving them with babies. And because the laws were the way they were back then in that time, so restrictive of the female in America, women's groups got together and was able to get a law passed that would hold men accountable, white men, for the children that they've left behind, because the divorce rate was so high before child support. Men could marry a woman, don't want to be married to her no more. They got kids, he divorces her, and I don't even think she could take half from him. I think she was just stuck and fucked over. He gave her 4, 5 kids. He wanted to cheat with a younger woman, because that's what those white men was doing. They was rich, they was wealthy, or they was middle class, or whatever it was. Because most white men in the 60s and 70s were just fucking evil bastards, most of them anyway. They feel like, okay, this white woman has grown old, gotten fat. All these kids she done had. I want me a young girl who ain't got no kids because I just want to satisfy my sexual deviance. So they would divorce these women and leave them with these children with nothing. And it was before 75, it was already hard enough for a white woman to get a meaningful job and make as much as a man made back then. She got 3-4 kids to take care of. And no father around, he done left with the young girl, the young bimbo. The bimbo term was invented by a white woman who was describing a younger version, a younger girl. That slang has been construed and turned and mixed around over the years. Now we refer to a bimbo as a blonde-haired white chick. But the term bimbo came from white women of that time who was talking about their husbands messing around with a younger female. So a bimbo was a term created by white women to describe a younger white girl that their husband had stepped out on. Their white husbands stepped out on and would rather be with. The bimbo. That, like I said, that term has been perverted over the years. Black people have taken it and just made all white women bimbos. Anytime a black man wants to have sex with a white woman, cheats on his black wife, she would say to him, "Oh, you want the bimbo." But that's because we just like white folks don't understand our lingo and language. We don't understand their lingo and language. It's two races of people who looking at each other from the surface, from the surface level, and not really knowing the nuances and ins and outs of slang language with each race. White people are guilty of this. Black people are guilty of this. We don't live in the house with white families to know the slang talk that they use outside of a racial term like nigger and all of the racial slurs. We know the racial slurs because we only see our struggle. Whereas in the 60s, white women were in abusive relationships with white men who would impregnate these women, get them pregnant, get them fat. There wasn't no workout plan or nutrition plan for these women to get their figures back. Once they started having babies, that's it, the figure gone. Back in the 60s and 70s, early 70s, because the 75 is when this shit stopped. But up until 1975 and before, women, most white women, after they have about 3-4 kids, they body shot to hell. They don't have no shape no more. They don't look beautiful and foxy no more. And white men, because they didn't understand science and anatomy of the body, they felt like, all right, she done gave me 3 kids now. All right, she's done for. I need a younger woman because I'm no longer attracted to this woman that I've given 3 kids to. And they could divorce her, leave her for a bimbo, and start all over with that one. Leave her with some kids. Then these white men grow old and get old and they get all these kids, and they expect to be respected and taken care of by the kids, the grandkids and shit. Over time, as black people started to get their rights and recognition in the United States, that is when the women's movement tried to recruit black women to share in the child support, movement, simply because they didn't feel like they had the numbers. And this isn't a defense of white people or white women. This is just me giving the facts of how the story came about, how child support came about. Yes, it had a hand in destroying the black family, but it had destroyed the white family way before us. I don't think black women even participated in child support on a deeper level until the 80s, because I don't think black women were aware that child support was available to them till maybe the early 80s, 79, 80. 1975, a lot of black people were not even politically involved. They didn't know the law. They didn't pay attention to the law. They was too busy trying not to get shot and killed. They stayed to themselves. So he wasn't as educated on laws being passed in America as they are now. So black people didn't even start dealing with welfare and child support until the 80s. Because we didn't know we could. We didn't know we had the right. We didn't know what rights we had. There are those of us who did know some political shit. You had your Stokely Carmichaels and your James Baldwins and your Malcolm X's and shit like that. But that era of people were rebellious against the government. They was not trying to benefit from the law. They wasn't trying to be a part of the voting process during that era. So before everybody settled down and stopped being so militant, there was a militant-minded group of black people, era of black people, during the years, the infancy of child support. So how the fuck did child support, was it designed to destroy the black family? That's a lie, is what I'm trying to say. That's a lie. Child support came into effect to punish the white men who would be either military people or rich or wealthy men with good jobs, because the white male had it easy. It was laid out for him to make it in America. The white male had a path laid out for him by the ruling white male class. Nothing for the white female. And since white people control the country up until a certain point, even to this day, especially during them times, them laws weren't even thinking about black people at the time. When child support came into effect, the people who signed that into law were not people who were thinking about black people benefiting from it. A black woman benefiting from her man divorcing her and getting child support. At that time, I don't even think they wanted black women to participate in the child support law. Matter of fact, if you go deeper into the article, those few black women who were astute in the law and was observant and saw that law being passed tried to apply for child support and got denied. Black women actually had to get to earn the right to actually get child support and welfare. It was a group of white women who made it possible for black women to even be a part of the welfare system, to get a welfare check and to get child support. Because black women couldn't even get it. Because they was black and they was racist back. They're very fucking racist. So to say that child support was designed to destroy the black family is a lie. The nuclear family. Before child support even came into play, the divorce rate was very fucking high. Nuclear family had been destroyed. They put the child support system into play because the nuclear family was destroyed. Single moms have been around since the 60s. White single moms. White single moms have been single moms since the 60s, probably before that. Way before that, matter of fact. I say the 60s, but shit has been going on longer than that. The 1975 child support bill came into play to stop an old behavior of white men going around making babies and not fathering their children. Intentionally leaving these women with kids because she's no longer attractive to him, to go get the bimbo who's young and vibrant and beautiful looking with no kids and no procreation. Not that he was trying to get her pregnant, he really was just trying to fuck. And she got pregnant in the process. Because back then they weren't thinking about condoms. Contraceptives was available, but it was a new thing. So white men was just sticking their raw dick in these young girls, and as a result, they got pregnant. Because they wasn't trying to have a baby. I think if these white men had any control over it, they wouldn't have gotten these women pregnant. I think they literally would have just smashed and left. But because science wasn't as good as it is now today, where you can actually, prevent a pregnancy, you can put a condom on, you can take a pill, you can do something to sterilize yourself. There's so many ways to stop having a baby today. Back then, they didn't have all of that shit. So I just want to debunk with documentation, not my opinion, not my perception, not my perspective, just facts, Article is in the description box. Please click on it. Please read the article in its entirety. And then read the follow-up articles that follow the article. Where did child support come from, how it originated, and the purpose of child support. Why the law was even put into place. Understand these things before you go around spewing this nonsense that you heard somebody say on their YouTube channel, their Twitter page, their Instagram page, Instagram Live, or whatever platform, podcast, radio station, whatever platform you hear people talking this shit from. Please do your research. Please vet these people, and please vet yourself. Vet you. Vet you. Whatever you think, whatever conclusions you've come to as an individual in this world, you are at this conclusion right here. You believe this, and there's nothing else to tell you otherwise, wherever that is. I need you to vet that. Vet that. Because what you finna do is make a video or try to have a discussion with a group of people to try to get them to think like you think. And you have not vetted that information that you're thinking about. You just came to this conclusion, and yep, this is it. Yep. Okay, where other way can it be? What else is there? What else is there? It's got to be this because there's nothing else that makes sense other than what I just said. You know, you sit up and you I don't know, what's the word? You give yourself a pass to speak this bullshit that you speak. There's nobody there to correct you, especially when you're on your video by yourself. This is why I put the link in the description box, because there's nobody on this video to challenge me. There's nobody in the car or in the truck with me to challenge what I'm saying. But to show you that I'm not above reproach or that I'm not an arrogant motherfucker, I give the link in the description box that takes you to more links and more articles that give you historical facts. The link in the description box is not an opinion link. This is the year child support came into play and the description behind why child support came into play, who the administration it was that it came under, and so on and so forth. Who championed it and why it came into play. Facts, documentation, history. Shit is digital now. It's hard to find books on shit. You got everything is online. Books are digital now. So most information is digital anyway. Most information is digital. And all I'm saying is the rhetoric that's being pushed by the black charismatic so-called leaders who speak for black folks, it's all bullshit to manipulate you to get them their dollars, period. But they say, you know, don't knock a person's hustle. You know, you people trying to eat, you fucking with people's money and shit. Not if the information you putting out is lies, and then I got young kids I'm raising and young homies and young kids I mentor that's not my kids, but they relatives, young cousins. When I hear them talking and repeating the shit they heard, they saw on your platform, and they come bring it to me, like Uncle Open, whatever the fuck, blah, 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 and I have to correct them, I know where they getting it from. They didn't went on somebody's YouTube channel, somebody's IG page, or somebody's Facebook Live or wherever, and heard somebody say this shit, and they repeating it to me. I ain't watching your shit. I don't consume your bullshit. But there is a younger generation that's 19, 20, 21, 22, the young tykes I'm talking about that's I'm mentoring, that's around that age in my space. They're listening to who they deem to be intelligent, and really that person just uses big words that they young asses aren't familiar with. It's not in their vocabulary. Doesn't mean you any less full of shit or lying or manipulative. The link is in the description box for anybody that want to debate me on this topic, because I'm not trying to debate. There is no debate. The link is in the description box. So if I say child support came into effect in 1975, that's a lie? No, it ain't open mind. Child support always been in effect. Like there's nothing to debate. It's there for you to read. The history is there. But who's promoting that article? Who's promoting this history? We just say shit and we run with it because it sounds good and it speaks to our misery. Misery loves company. So when you're already miserable internally and you go online and you see other miserable people speaking to your misery, chances are you're going to subscribe and you're going to give them money and donate. But that's a testament to you, not to them. So this video isn't necessarily a charge against the people who are pushing these narratives. It's a charge against you, the listener, for actually subscribing and giving them your donation money. Because you should know better than the shit that they saying is bullshit, but it feels good to you, so you're going to give them your money. That's not their fault. That's your fault. You the one need to wake the fuck up and realize when you being played. This your boy Open Mind dropping truth bombs. I'm not going to get too much in depth, long drawn out conversation. The article actually speaks better than I could ever speak about child support and the origination and what it's purpose for. But I can tell you, it was not designed to destroy the black family. It wasn't designed to destroy the nuclear family. The nuclear family was already destroyed, therefore child support came into place. As a result of a nuclear family being destroyed because people wasn't staying together, they were just fucking having babies and leaving babies with whoever the fuck. The nuclear family was destroying itself. And there was no consequence or repercussion for the nuclear family destruction. So since these white men were destroying the nuclear family and perverting it and not sticking with these women, the government of the time put a child support order in play to make men think twice about getting divorced. It's there to make white men think twice about leaving the relationship, because if you leave the relationship, this is what you're going to happen. You just know what the consequences are. You're going to destroy your nuclear family. This is what you're going to have to deal with. A headache. So child support was designed to be a headache to make everybody stay together. Or don't have no kids if you don't think y'all gonna make it. Now you don't know what people gonna do. That's no way of knowing who's the right person to have a kid by, especially when everything's going good and then it goes sour. But that's what it's for, to make you cautious about even starting a fucking family, because if that family don't stick together, more than likely you're gonna be paying child support. This your boy Open Mind dropping truth bombs. I just want the truth to be out there. In the event that somebody come across the video, they can reference my video and the link in my video and compare it to the shit they listening to that's not saying what I'm saying, right? You ain't got to argue with people. Just go get your own facts and keep that shit to yourself and go on about your business. You don't have to bring it. You don't have to bring this evidence or that evidence to the person that you're trying to argue and convince. Some of these people know what they're saying is a lie. That's the thing. There's no reason to argue with people. Some people know that they're full of shit. They're lying intentionally. And they'll argue you down because they're not trying to tell the truth. They're trying to lie. And if you're here to mess up that whatever the fuck they're trying to do, they're gonna fight you and battle you with words. Because you fucking up their money. But that doesn't mean that the truth ain't the truth. So your own peace of mind, don't argue with nobody. Just listen to what they say. If you're skeptical, go find a second opinion or go dig and find the research. When you come to the conclusion truth, don't take it back to them and say, here, see, here's my proof. No. Just keep it to yourself that you now have found the truth and go move on with your life. Because you are not going to win that battle with these people who are intentionally trying to be full of shit. And that's enough truth for today. Open Mind dropping truth bombs. Creator bless y'all. Get money. Deuces.